Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone review series, where I review every episode of the original Twilight Zone from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 103 on the list, Judgment Night, written by Rod Serling and directed by John Brahm. This is a season 1 episode, and as always there will be spoilers. So this is another slightly above average episode for me. This one's about a man named Carl Lancer, and he's on a ship and he doesn't really know what's going on or why he's there. But somehow he also has a bad feeling that the ship might be in some way attacked. So this one has an interesting premise, and I think the execution is mostly good, but certainly not perfect or anything. So Jeremiah Persoff is the lead in this episode, and he gives a solid performance. I don't think it's an all-time great Twilight Zone performance, but it's pretty good. The premise is really interesting. This is one of those episodes that starts out where Lancer has no idea what's going on, and we don't really either. It's risky because you can lose an audience that way, but it mostly works here. The plot is fairly interesting, although I will say the first half of this episode does feel a little all over the place, which may be intentional. It may be trying to portray what the character's going through, but it doesn't totally work for me because not a lot really happens. We maybe get a few clues here and there to what's happening, but it's mostly us just following this man Lancer around as he kind of pieces things together. But eventually the episode does get a lot better, in my opinion, as eventually things build up and Lancer finds himself alone on the ship, and all of a sudden the ship is under attack, and Lancer realizes that it is he himself who's attacking the ship. And this part of the episode's all done pretty well. Some of the effects in the attempt at an action sequence are a little dated, but overall I think it's pretty solid. So then we get to the end of this episode, and Lancer is talking with one of his men, and they're discussing the attack and what happened. And the man under Lancer is concerned that they may have to pay for what they did because they attacked this ship basically without warning, without provocation, however you want to look at it. And he's concerned, but Lancer seems to kind of dismiss this. But it turns out the other man was right, because Lancer winds up on the ship that he attacked again. So basically it appears he's like in a loop where he has to relive this over and over again. A pretty interesting premise that I thought worked pretty well here. I just kind of wish that the first half of the episode had a little more focus. But overall, I think Judgment Night is a slightly above average and solid Twilight Zone episode, and that's why it ranks for me at number 103. As always, feel free to leave me a comment on this episode, Judgment Night, if you liked it or not, and if you think I rated it maybe too high or too low or just right. As always, thanks for your continued support, and thank you very much for watching.